Dude, this track had me confused from the moment go when even I tried to turn laps on it. Seeing the trucks here, knowing how well bulky they are trying to turn laps at this place, I'm already impressed with what these drivers are able to do tonight.
Everybody, as we had some technical difficulties here in the opening. Unfortunately, Invest 90L here in Florida gave us a beating in our area, and the connection just wasn't cooperating. I thought we were live. It looked good, and then YouTube was doing YouTube things. But nonetheless, Shane and I are here. We are 100% live in prime time as we're now on lap number 5 of this right and left hand turn event. And Shane, as we were saying earlier, this track is about as technical as you can come by.
This reminds me of basically if Sonoma and Watkins Glen had a one-night stand together, because it's got the speed of Watkins Glen on the long two straightaways, but the technicalness of Sonoma on the back section. The only good thing is there's no sausage curb, so you can use as much curb or even the AstroTurf as you want to get through these corners.
Yeah, those sausage curbs, while they can't be inviting, if you get too greedy on them, they can come up and bite you. But this curbing here, very inviting for these solid rear axle trucks, and these drivers are going to be using all of it.
All of it, and even probably kissing the grass by the time this race is over.
Yeah, well said. I could not agree with you anymore myself, my friend. Let's go ahead and pull up the race info this evening. The weather could not get any better. 65-degree ambient air temperature, 45% relevant humidity, overcast, it's cloudy. That wind at an elusive 1 mile an hour, gonna be a non-factor. Shane, that means these trucks are gonna be making all the power.
All the power and trying to turn the rear tires into powder. So let's just hope these guys know how to keep the eggshell underneath them, because you don't want to crack it this early in a race.
No, you certainly don't. And, we saw in that first opening qualifying race, we apologize again that we were not able to bring that to everyone here live on SRM. But that 70 machine, Aaron Smith, had a blistering pace. We invert the field, something that I love, and I hope more leagues take away and see what these guys are doing here. He won, but now he had to start in P10. But look where Aaron Smith is, Shane. He's already up 6 spots, and he's cracked the top 5.
Not just him, but Dustin Bally as well, because those guys ran 1-2, and here they are sitting 3-4 this early in the race. I got a feeling they're just kind of laying back, waiting for everyone else to slip up and take advantage.
You know what? It's funny you mentioned Dustin Bally, because he has just done that, balled out in this Toyota. He balled out in the opening qualifier, and here he is in the main event. Whoa, we got big-time problems. The 29, the back end of Dan Ott's F-150 just stepped out. I don't know how he saved that, Shane. That was absolutely incredible.
Those are what you call ninja hands right there, Matt.
Well, I need to get me a set of those, because if that was me, I would have been in the fence, just being honest.
I think we can order them off of QVC. I'm not sure. I'll have to look later.
Oh, you sound like Dave Regal now, going down the QVC rabbit hole.
By the way, your work husband says hi.
Well, Dave,
we'll keep the seat warm for you.
Douche, Dave Regal, you can catch us live on Sunday Night NASCAR in prime time, of course, every Sunday night as we tackle the Cup Series. But right now, we're in the midst of some hardcore action here on the road course overseas. I got my jacket on, Shane. It's a lot cooler here than it is in Florida.
Yeah, it really is. It's even a lot cooler there than what it's been in Maine the last few days. So that says something.
Yeah, it does. We were talking about Dan Ott just a moment ago. Let's go on board with this guy and see how he's getting it done around this road course. I mean, watching him from the booth has been spectacular, but you can't beat this view right here inside the cockpit on the helmet cam, watching this guy go to work.
Yeah, you can see right there, using up as much curb as possible getting through this section. Even find a little bit of the AstroTurf. Again, these trucks need to be nimble, but with the update that iRacing has given these trucks, they're anything but.
Yeah, anything but. And in fact, as we go on board with Dan Ott, we got to quickly switch Switch positions here. We had somebody off in the runoff area of the turn there. I think that might have been Dade in that six machine of that Napa Chevrolet, and it was out of the Northeast from Plainville, Connecticut. He's certainly always off course again. And Shane, this could be a great case of just overheating those good years.
Yeah, if you look at that right front fender, he's mashed it into the wall, so something had to have happened, and that truck is far from happy right now.
Yeah, you can see the damage as we go on board here to the GoPro camera. The toe looks like it's kicked out of that thing a little bit too as well, Shane.
Yeah, I think he's got a bent tie rod, and that he's going to have to come down pit road to get that thing fixed, because he keeps trying to keep that out there. It's only going to get worse.
Unfortunate, only 9 laps into this event. He's going to have to take a trip down pit road here. But I guess the silver lining, it is a long way around this place, and you're not... Oh, did you see that?
Yeah, that kind of got the hair on the back of my neck standing up a little bit.
Same here in the broadcast booth as well. As we take it now back to the point, Chuck Lobato leads this thing, and the slogan for Toyota is "Let's go places," and he has kept it right there in the front. But Dustin Bawley continues to be impressive. Up 7 spots. He is now closing and starting to turn up the heat for Chuck Lobato, who's currently carrying the torch in P1, Shade.
Yeah, and it looks... Whoa! Oh, these boys are really starting to put the heat on each other right now from what I'm seeing, because it looks like Dustin is using a slightly different line going into the corners, trying to maybe diamond them a little bit. And he's leaving that inside open to get attacked by the 29 of Dan Ott.
Yeah, Dan Ott, that's a great point. And now, as Dustin Bawley gets a little bit of breathing room, it almost seems like the 3, 4, 6 may be slowing down the top 4, top 5 here. And that's why they're racked and stacked on top of each other. Does Dustin Bawley here, how long does he have to wait before he may have to move him out of the way? Because he's in a situation right now where he has to play offense and defense, and that's not a fun position to be on a road course.
No, you can see right there, he took a very different line through that section, trying to apex a little bit more, just trying to get a little bit of fresh air on that front end, maybe trying to cool the brakes a little bit. But he's also trying to find a way to attack this 3-4-6. So I think he's probably going to wait a little bit longer. But if that 70 of Aaron Smith comes knocking on his tailgate, he ain't waiting any longer.
No, he certainly won't. And, the other part of that is once you deploy the chrome horn, it's fair game after that. Do unto others as they do unto you. As the 29 is around, Dan Ott goes off course. He kicks it into high gear, swings the back end around, lights up the tires, and back underway. Shane, that could have been a lot worse than what it was.
Yeah, I think he took a huge deposit out of the luck bank on that one, and so did everyone else getting around him.
In fact, let's go back to the SRM instant replay here. We take it to the eye in the sky. It's right through this technical winding section. He kind of gets into the braking zone there and then just overdoes it on the loud pedal there. All these drivers, what a heads-up job. Great situational awareness, staying out of the way and keeping this thing green flag, wide open action.
Yeah, and that's the one thing about road course racing is you see somebody going around, you definitely drive where they're not going, because the rotation of the vehicle is going to stop pretty much instantaneously on that arc. You can just drive around them unless they decide to throw it in reverse, and then, well, that's on them. Yeah,
because you're not going to drive it through them without, causing some structural damage to both parties involved anyhow.
Yeah, 2 into 1 ends up turning into a compactor.
Yeah, typically not a good thing if you're on the road course, short track, or super speedway. That's something we try to avoid here as Chuck Lobato continues to carry the torch here at the front in that 3-4-6 machine. But Dustin Bawley and Aaron Smith both up 7 positions. They were big factors in the qualifier as there are parts depositing everywhere. We got a truck.
It's Dave Grajewski. The front end is gone.
That's going to be the 6th machine as he is now teleported into pit road, and you can see that Napa parts machine has gone aflame.
There's not much know-how with that truck.
You got me, Shane. This game's gonna carry over here. I see. Okay, I got you, brother. But
I look who I learned from.
exactly. Hey, look. Once with Dave Regal, always like Dave Regal. If you go back to the replay here again, problems just keep mounting here for the 6 machine. This is him coming onto pit road here. And everything looks fine and dandy with that 6, but we know we have evidence otherwise as the night has just gone from bad to worse for him, unfortunately, as we now take the coverage back to the front of this piece. Now working lap number 12, and it's the same story. Chuck Labano continuing to find ways to fend off the likes of Dustin Bawley and Aaron Smith.
Yeah, but he's not going to hold them off much longer. Last lap at a 130.4 compared to Bawley at a 29.75 or Aaron Smith at a 28.75. So he's not going to be holding them off much longer because they're going to really start using him up before long. As a matter of fact, it's getting close to that time now.
Yeah, the 24 might be looking to use him for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all in one corner, I might add. As you can see just how, stacked everyone is behind the 346. Dustin Bawley, mere, truck length off of him. And then you're talking about inches between Aaron Smith in third, Johnny Rapp in fourth, Evan Hoopcott in fifth. These guys, it's like a train out there. There's racked and stacked on top of each other. So, just nose to tail, it's almost like a train ripping around this place.
Yeah, and once Chuck Labano gets shuffled out of the lead, he is going to drop in a heartbeat. As once again, that 24 takes a little bit of a more apex line going through that section.
We're talking about the 24 in that apex line, different way he's attacking this racetrack. As you mentioned, perhaps trying to get that truck some clean air, cool those brakes down. Let's go on back, on board, once again with Dustin Bawley as he continues to tackle this treacherous road course here. And he's doing a heck of a job doing it as well. As we now jump on board with him back to the helmet cab. And Shane, I don't know about you, but this is one of my favorite views in all of iRacing.
Yeah, it really is, because you get to see exactly how much wheel these guys are using. Right down there, 3,400 RPM before getting back onto the throttle, trying to carry it out. None of these guys are really using first gear right now because they know they'd end up spinning the tires off this truck.
Yeah, wheel hop city, if I had to imagine.
Oh, easily, but you can also hear how careful he is on the brake pedal in these corners. It's almost like more of a Formula One style lift, coast, and then get on the brake pedal. So it's a lot different style of driving.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I immediately thought open wheel when I started to listen to how he was transitioning onto the brake pedal and then how he was kind of letting it roll and picking up the throttle so gingerly and progressively, depending on the grip level and how the confidence he had. You can see him get it loose right there, but you got to try and make up some money right here at this portion of the racetrack. We were talking about this earlier, Shane.
Yeah, we were. This downhill section, like I said, I tried doing some laps around here just to get a feel of what these guys were going to experience here tonight. Yeah, it didn't exactly go well.
Yeah, it didn't go well for me either, as I had my hands full. I told you earlier, I felt like David Hasselhoff. I was off in the sand so much, I hung it up after 2 times around this place.
Yeah, I don't think Kit would be happy with getting sand in his computers, dude.
Probably not. But, just in case, let me get my shop vac and my shovel, because... just for safe measure. Hey, you never know, right?
Yeah, as deep as I was in some of these gravel traps, I might as well just put up a residence and have a little bit of a suntan going.
Hey, let me get my lawn chair as well while we're at it. You know what, Shane? I am impressed how Chuck has been able to keep these guys behind him now, as we approach lap 15, as we're writing 14 into the books. Another lap and another lap led for Chuck Labano in that 346 Toyota as he continues to lead. Justin Bawley in that second place position. Aaron Smith in third. Remember, 2 big factors in that open qualifier. Evan Hoopka in fourth. Dan Ott in fifth. Sixth right now as we go through the field is going to be the 52 of Johnny Rapp, up 2 positions. Seventh belongs to the Ford Brigade of Samuel Stoner. Eighth, Devin Jack. Those 2 Fords run back-to-back. Jay Bass, in ninth. And rounding out the top 10, Benson Weaver in that Chevrolet.
Yeah, and I'm looking back through these times once again, just kind of seeing where everyone's trying to make things up. And it looks like Aaron Smith and Evan Hupachak in the 7 are both making up 0.2 of a second on everybody else right now. So I would not be surprised if this train gets a lot more compact as it gets later in this race.
Well, you mentioned later in this race, but, we're almost at the time when we're starting to, go down the other side of the mountain, if you will, as we're already on lap 15. And you can see how close these trucks just continue to compress and stack on one another, as you just mentioned.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that a lot of these tight turns are going to start turning into Martinsville corners, and we're going to see a lot more front bumpers being used before long.
And that's the part where you hope you got grandma strapped in with her 5-point harness. Plenty of kernel-free popcorn. As you know, she's having fun along for the ride right now. And we hope all you guys that have it set to the right YouTube channel right here on SRN. You're thinking about joining the family, helping us hit that 4,000 subscriber mark. We could really use your help. The best way to do that, right, Shane? Smash the like button, ring the bell, and come home to 6 days of high-octane, high-flying racing action right here on SRM.
Oh, yeah, and hey, you even get a little bit of comedy while you're at it. What's better than that? Racing and comedy.
Hey, it's a win-win situation, unless you're out there racing and watching the broadcast or listening to the broadcast at the same time. I've made that mistake, and Tony wrecked me several times at the SCL, but that's a story for another time.
Yeah, another time when we got more than like 3 or 4 hours to tell it, and maybe a couple of stiff drinks as well.
Oh, look at here. The 70 tried to go around the outside of the 24 of Dustin Bally. That kept him honest, and now that actually may cost Smith a spot. His Hoopchak is right there in that 7 machine.
Yeah, he took a little gander up the outside of the 70, but he realized it wasn't going to work, fell back into line because Dan Ott in that 29 is lurking in 5th. Something tells me this train's about to compress a little bit more.
Yep, and it can only compress so much until something gives. And that's really what the meat and potatoes are of the situation. As we now watch, we continue to see the 2 Toyotas lead. Then you have the Chevrolet in the 70 of Aaron Smith, Evan Hupka in that. Oh!
Evan got a little bit loose under braking and just about wiped out the 70.
Well, that's one way to do it, right?
That'd be one way to move him, and it looks like he lost about 0.2 of a second on that one.
Yeah, 2 to 3 tenths, and Shane, I think that's being generous. But, this goes to show you just how much these leaders are getting held up here, at the front of this beast, because even though he gave up that much, I mean, he is right there back again, lurking off the 70 of Smith.
Yeah, right now, Labano's last lap was a 1:30.01. Dustin Bailey in the 24 truck, 1:29.77. He's getting held up every single lap, and it's only a matter of time before he stops getting held up.
Right, and I mean, but I got to give him credit. He's finding a way to do just enough to keep the Angry Hornets at bay for now anyhow. If we go back on board with Dustin Bally, and we go to the excitement cam, I like to call it. You think it's rowdy out his front windshield, you guys at home? Nuh-uh, look at this. This is out the back tailgate. And you can see all of the angry Wasp and Hornets right here, ladies and gentlemen. You're looking at the front of the 70 of Aaron Smith right here, and just in back of him, you have Evan Hupka, who's all over him, and if that's not enough, then you go to the back of that Ford, or to the tailgate of that Ford, and Dan Ott is right there, ready to strike, and that's what Shane and I are talking about. These guys having to play offense and defense at the same time out here if this race circuit isn't hard enough to navigate it by itself.
Yeah, and just off of Dan Ott's tailgate, Johnny Rapp in the 52.
Yeah, Johnny Rapp having a great run here tonight, and I tell you what, I seen this paint scheme last week, and I like it even more this week. I just love that lime racing green color, the way it contrasts with that orange, and That's a good-looking race truck out there right now as he runs in that 6th place position, up 2 spots from where he started, Shane.
Yeah, that piece would be easily seen at places like Daytona and Talladega.
Hey, it makes for good broadcast eye candy, too. Just say it.
Well, yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, it makes it easy to find in a big old pack, and especially on the road course, too.
As he continues to run there in the 52 in that 6th place position, doing a heck of a job here right now. But since the drop of the green flag, it has been all Chucky here. Chuck Lobato in the 3-4-6. I mean, just putting up, he's starting to pick it up. That last time by, he was a 29.57. So Chuck finding some more pace in that TRD-powered machine. And just in front of him, looks like we're going to have some lap traffic here.
Yeah, it looks like it's the 89 that's going to be in front of these guys. Yeah, it's the 89 truck.
That's
Derek Fouquet.
Yeah, Derek Fouquet here. He was in that 15th place position, fighting for his life right now, trying to stay on the lead lap. And again, you got about 2 to 3 tenths of a second just behind him, and the leaders are right there. Does it look like Chuck had gotten a little loose right there for a moment, but he seems to have got that TRD back underneath him, Shane.
Yeah, he's definitely struggling right now. I think the rear tires are starting to slowly fade away because this train has collapsed even further closer together. And I really believe that it's only going to be another matter of a couple of laps or so before Dustin gets fed up of waiting behind him and uses him up.
Yeah, when does he decide enough is enough? Does he pull the trigger? Does he hit the switch and start to see red and just go all out, full-blown, race car driver mode? Because at some point, the give and take is going to expire. Because, I mean, Shane, at the end of the day, that's your job. Get as many positions you can out there on the racetrack, or put it in victory lane and get your race team, the sponsors, and everyone else the credit and the show, the airtime that you possibly can, right?
Well, right now, Chuck's doing everything he can to get the Force and everybody involved in it some airtime, because right now he's got Darth Vader staring at everybody, but the Force can only be used for so long before Luke Skywalker in that 24 says, "I'm done dealing with you."
Or does he have a Dark Star driving that thing? He's waiting to just hit the button on.
Either way works, but if I was Yoda on that right rear quarter panel, I'd be a little concerned.
I couldn't agree with you more. Well said. You mentioned the Goodyear Eagles starting to get a little used and abused here. Let's take a look at the pit strategy here inside the top 5, and no one has been down pit road since the drop of the green flag. That means they have 19 circuits closing in on 20 now, on these Goodyear Eagles. And the harder they run, the more laps they turn, the hotter these temperatures of these tires get, and the more they go from feel good to feel bad, Shane.
Well, right now, I know someone who's feeling bad is Dustin Hawley, because he just gave up second to Evan Hubachek, and Evan is starting to breathe down the throat of Chuck Lobato.
Yeah, he said, I've had enough of this. Perhaps he's the first one that's decided it's go time. I'm coming for Darth Vader right now. I'm sick of looking at him. So now we're going to switch it up. It's a little F-150 Toyota action. As here comes Evan Hubachek in that 7 machine. He is closing in on Lobato quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah, and right now he's really starting to look a little bit deeper under braking, trying to get under the 346. But right now, Chuck has done everything possible to keep these guys back there. And by doing so, the 89 of Derek Fouquet has been able to escape and still stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, he's loving watching this in his rearview mirror. He's checking out of Dodge as these guys are dicing it up here at the front. Ooh, the 346, slipped up in the corner there a little bit. That's allowed the 7 to close back in. And Shane, last time by, that 7 F-150, fastest truck inside the top 10 at a 1:27.38.
Yeah, something tells me, you got a little sideways right there. He's using up those tires.
He's using up everything he has right now in his wheelhouse. To go up there, he's going to try to pull an intimidator move of old, get inside the head of Lobato, make him start mirror driving, make a mistake as the 7 starts blinking of all things.
Yeah, that's going to start worrying everybody around him, because they're not going to sure where he ends up And the last thing you want to do is end up waiting for someone to come back after a blink. And unfortunately, you're right there where they are and end up wrecking them.
Or you end up right inside the cockpit with them. We've seen that before as well, Shade, as we now go on board with Hoopcha. Excuse me.
Yeah, and you can see right there a little bit of wheel hop going into the corner. We saw the rev limit, the needle bounce around a little bit. He is really hard on the binders trying to slow the truck down. So he's doing everything he can to put the pressure on that 346. And right now the force has been strong with Labano.
Yeah, the force has been strong, but I'll tell you what, these other contenders, like Dustin Bally, Aaron Smith, and now it's Evan's turn to see if he can dethrone Labano in the 346. He is driving this truck in deep. I mean, whoa! I thought they made contact there. If they didn't, you probably couldn't have fit a sheet of paper between those two.
No, and right there is the advantage Evan had. He was able to straighten the chicane out a little bit more, and he closed the gap so far. He actually had to bail out of it, or else he was going to end up turning the 346.
Yeah,
he's looking underneath him right now.
He is looking underneath him right now, but Labano's going to slam the door. He's going to take him wide. He's going to make him take the non-preferred line. As what a defensive move there by Labano, Shane.
Yeah, he's trying to force him to go outside in, trying to get the crossover. And right now, Evan cannot get the power down to get the crossover done. So Chuck holds off for another lap.
Yeah, the longer we run, I mean, even though these guys behind him have been quicker, they are using up their tires. They're in the dirty air. They don't have the downforce and the aero advantage that Chuck has in that 346. And, even though he hasn't been the fastest, perhaps he has done such a good job defending that he has equalized these guys inside the top 3, top 4, perhaps.
The one thing about road course racing is it's never the fastest vehicle that wins it. It's whoever's the smartest. And this is right now where Chuck Labano has been using everything imaginable in his book, and even maybe a few pages outside of it, to try to hold off and win this race. And right now he's done it all possible as that 7 is all over the tailgate once again. Whoa! 340, woo! 346 locked up and then got sideways.
Well, I'll tell you what, the 346 just about choked on a Popeye's biscuit there, is that got hot and heavy. Here comes the 7. He's taking a peek on the inside. Can he put the power down? The 346 is wide, and at lap 23, check the box. We got a new leader in town, and that is Evan Hoopcha.
Yeah, he just waited for that 346 to make that one error, that one minor mistake, and he was able to jump all over it, capitalize, and he is going to check out on the field now.
Yeah, as he's able to capitalize on the one mistake that Chuck Labano has made all race long. And folks at home, you're shifting multiple times a lap. You're turning right, you're turning left. You have these different braking zones. You have to make sure you're getting your shifts right. And the one slip that you make in this series, it costs you the lead. That's how good the competition here is right here in prime time. These guys are showing you how to get it done in a NASCAR truck on a road course here in in Norway. It doesn't get any better than this.
No, it doesn't. These guys are shifting 18, 20 times a lap, trying to get up and down through this course. And the one minor slip up, that lock up, and then the back end swinging just a little bit wide, was the only thing that was needed for Evan Hoopcha to take the lead, and now he's running away by about a second plus.
Yeah, he's now kicked it up a notch to a 29-40 or a 1 minute 29 second 45 lap there, as he continues to get smaller and smaller out the front of Chuck Labano's mirror, or windshield, I should say.
And you can see exactly how big of a holdup it was, because now Chuck's holding up everybody else to a point where you have Dustin Bally, Aaron Smith II, Dan Ott, Rapp, Johnny Rapp, Samuel Stoner, and Devin Jack all within striking distance.
All these guys are literally Noah's Ark situation, right on top of each other, Shane. Evan was the first person to find success. Let's go to the 24 now. Here's Dustin Bally. It feels like he's been here forever, and he's going to take it way. Not sure what was.
They just waved the checkers.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Evan Hoopcha comes home with the big W here off of one slick from Chuck Labano. I do apologize for that, as our timing and scoring clearly was off from not having the start synced right. But, Shane, nonetheless, what a drive by Evan here in this F-150 as he waited. He had patience. You mentioned it's not the fastest truck, it's the smartest person, and he was patient. He waited, and he took the opportunity when it presented himself, and nonetheless, he gets the victory here in the very first road course race of the season.
Yeah, and if this is any indication of what's going to happen on the rest of the road courses, especially next week with Bathurst, I'm strapping in for this one.
Yeah, strapped in, locked, rocked, ready to rock up here in the broadcast booth. I know what I'm in for. I seen these guys put on a heck of a show here at Daytona, and nonetheless, they follow it up here with another great performance on the road courses, the road circuit here over in Europe tonight. Some of the best road racing I've seen all year, to be quite honest with you. As we turn and take a look there at Johnny Rapp as he's off the racing surface, just chilling, enjoying that sixth place finish. As now we wait for our top three to join us here in the SRM Tony Trapasso Memorial broadcast booth.
I believe they are in the green room waiting for us.
Yes, they are. So we'll go ahead and we'll bring in the third place finisher, and that is going to be Dustin Bawley.
Polite.
And Dustin,
I think he could have. Hey guys, sorry.
It's okay. You didn't know we were pulling you up, but hey, you got Matt and Shane up in the booth, Dustin. And Shane, I'll let you take this one, brother.
Man, we were watching for the longest time, and it seemed like you were just getting held up a little bit by the 346 of Chuck Labano. Was there anything you could do to try to get around him any quicker before Evan took that shot and made it stick?
I don't think so. I think Chuck had his truck positioned perfectly. I think I obviously had a little bit more speed. We were running faster times in the sprint compared to what he was running, but just there was nowhere to make a clean pass. I didn't want to attempt an aggressive overtake and potentially end his race or end someone else's. So I was just kind of waiting for him to make a mistake. He made a couple, but never enough to let me by. And then I think I may have gotten, I'm trying to remember when Evan got around me, but I guess I went wide a little bit and left the door open. But yeah, that was a fun race. The top 5, 6, 7 cars or whatever within 5 seconds, not much more you can ask for in a road course.
No, especially not. And we definitely had some thrills up here in the booth watching you guys. Before we cut you loose to celebrate this podium finish, anyone you want to thank that helped you get it done in that 24 truck?
Yeah, my wife Rebecca, parents Tom and Deb, mother-in-law Karen, anyone else watching, supporting me. I want to thank the sponsor, Palmrat Golf, for everything they do for the league, and of course you guys for broadcasting.
Hey, man, enjoy this P3 finish. We will definitely see you next week from Bathurst.
Thank you, sir.
Shane, great job there. Wonderful interview. As we want to thank again Dustin Bawley for coming up here, talking with us here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial broadcast booth. Great speaking with him as he put on one heck of performance here tonight as he comes home in that third place position. Now it's time to bring up our second place finisher tonight. Chuck, Matt, and Shane up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy there, buddy?
I got a copy. How you guys doing?
Hey, man, we're fired up. We seen you put on one heck of a show out there. We thought you were going to be able to hold them off and go the distance, but it seemed like one little slip there in the S's cost you the lead. Walk me through that race tonight.
Well, it was dumb luck that I even got the pole. I got to thank Jay for that. He wiped it all by himself. So other than that, yeah, usually when you're in front, it is a little bit easier. And especially when the faster drivers are from behind. What I say is they're usually fighting over who gets to pass me, and that's how long I get to stay in the lead for.
It's funny you say that because at times they certainly were doing that. It was like, okay, who wants to take their shot at you now? But nonetheless, that's one of the cool things about this league, right? You invert the top 10, and that really changes up the strategy and makes things interesting. We've seen it at Daytona, really spice things up, and now here on the road course. But, nonetheless, great performance for you. Anything else you think you could have done differently to hold on to the win, or at the end of the day, did the best truck win?
I don't know if it was the best truck that won, but there was definitely a handful that could have easily done the same thing that Evan did. He just managed traffic a little bit better. That's all. I was going back either way. It's just I'm surprised I only got past once.
Yeah, that's it. And unfortunately, that one cost you the win, but nonetheless, here a very strong runner-up finish here in that second place position. Before we cut you loose, who do you want to thank? Who helps you get it done on the 346?
Oh, usually the Frito Sport guys. Tom, he's in here. He does our paint. The wife for allowing me to yell and curse and scream without coming over here and hitting me over the head. Yeah. And then I have to thank her again because then she'll bring me a drink on top of it. So
I know the feeling, believe me.
yeah.
I can't tell you how many times, Chuck, I'll be honest, I've been kicked, hit, punched, get out of the way while I'm trying to do one of these things, praying to God it doesn't bleed over into the mic. So I'm right there with you, my man. Well, there he is.
Guys.
Hey, thanks for joining us here in the booth, man. There's your second place finisher. Held on for dear life. Couldn't believe he was able to come home P2, but he did exactly what needed to be done to put it on the podium. That is the driver of the 346. That is Chuck Lobato. And Shane, certainly last but not least, he was absolutely blistering quick in the qualifying race. He was lights out here in the main event tonight. Your race winner now with you in the Tony Trapasso Memorial booth. That is going to be the driver of the 7, Evan Hubka.
Evan, it's Shane and Matt in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, sorry, guys. I got you.
My friend, all it took was one slip up from that 346, and you made it stick. What else did it take to get that truck where you had it positioned to be ready to pounce in a moment like that?
I wasn't sure if Aaron was kind of duping us. I mean, he's probably the quickest driver out here. I didn't know if he was just saving tires and holding back, but it looked like he was struggling a little bit. So I just snuck up the inside on him, and Dustin kind of let me through. And I figured I had one or two chances under the brakes with Chuck. Got a good run before that hairpin and just kind of threw it down there, and it worked out. It was nice and clean.
Yeah, it was, because that was the one time, because it also looked like Chuck also got a little bit late on the brakes and locked it up, and that was the moment you were able to pounce on him.
Yeah, I think it just all worked out, came together. So yeah, excited. My first win in the series, and it's great group of guys, super clean racing. It's a blast.
Hey, before we let you cut loose and open up the bottle of champagne to celebrate, who helps you get it done in that 7 truck you want to thank tonight?
Dustin for putting the league on, of course. Tom Went for the sweet paint job I'm running. And just, the guys for showing up. You guys for broadcasting this. It makes it fun.
Hey, man, we're glad to be producing this and showcasing you guys every Thursday night. So enjoy this win. We'll see you next week at Bathurst.
All right, awesome. Thanks.
Shane, thank you so much. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen, your winner tonight once again. He's been dominant, very fast, Shane, on the NASCAR ovals there on the plate side of things at Daytona. He comes here now tonight on the road course, puts up a blistering performance. I think he has made a statement early on in this series that number 7 is one of the ones to watch.
Oh, easily. And like I said, I cannot wait to see what next week in one of the most famous tracks in all of motorsports, not just in Australia, not just, down south, but in all of motorsports, Mount Panorama itself, Bathurst, brings to these guys.
Yeah, Bathurst. I mean, that track has a ton of history behind it, and that's going to be, I think, an even greater challenge for some of these drivers when we get there next week in prime time.
Oh, easily. Going down the Big Dipper in one of these things, you think it's hard to do it in a supercar. Try doing it in a truck.
That's just it. The supercars a lot different than the trucks. And I think back to about 10 or 12 years ago when they took Darrell Waltrip around the Dipper. Shane, I'm sure you remember that video.
Yep.
I'm talking about when he called it a geological oddity.
Well, he's not wrong calling it a geological oddity, but so isn't the corkscrew at Laguna Seca. But let's not split hairs here.
Yeah, let's not split hairs here. And you know what? That's exactly what these drivers are going to take us on a ride like no tomorrow next week here in prime time. So make sure you're locked in here live right on SRM, as there's just one thing to do left now, and that's go over the final results here tonight. Let's go ahead and pull that up on the big screen for everybody at home. It's been a wild one here from Norway.
Yes, it has. With as we just got done talking, Evan Hubachek ended up picking up the win over Chuck Labano, Dustin Bali, Aaron Smith, and Dan Ott, the top 5. Johnny Rapp, Samuel Stoner, Devin Jack, Laura Wiseman coming in P9, and to round out the top 10, Benson Weaver.
Yeah, Benson Weaver rounds out the top 10, and I'll bring you through the rest of the way through the field this evening. In 11th, the 53 of Jay Bass. In 12th, Peter D. Stewart in the 91 wide. 13th belongs to Tom Wheat, while 14th in that coming home position, that is Mark Royce. Rounding out the top 15, that's the 89 of Derek Fiquette. Nick Scharf comes home 16th. In that 17th place position, the 6 of Dade Jarkowski. 18th belongs to Chris Winslow in the 45 ride. And rounding out the top, the 19 drivers that started this race, that's going to be Phil Keck in that 888 machine.
Yeah, I think he wasn't able to take the green flag. He qualified for the sprint race, but was unable to actually end up racing due to, I think, power problems or, weather situation where he was. But, 18 trucks taking the green flag tonight, and boy, did we have a show.
It doesn't, these guys are so good. I don't think it matters how many trucks you have out there on the racetrack. I was standing up and on the edge of my seat from the drop of the green flag. Well, Shane, there's only one thing left to do. And all good things must come to an end, including this broadcast. Want to thank all the partners, the sponsors, and you guys at home for bringing us into your living room right here on SRM. Without all of you, this certainly would not be possible, and we couldn't thank you enough for your time and all the support that you give Road and Blake. And as the late, great Tony Trempasso used to say in closing, if you guys go down the road of life this week, do us all a favor. Don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody, and we'll see you next time right here on SRM.
Until we meet again, everyone,